أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Every page of the Quran says, worship only the omnipotent one. Do you not realize that God has created the heavens and the earth for a specific purpose? Batul, stop this noise, Batul.
It's only Rachel. Rachel's only crying.
There we go. She knows what she wants. I'm going to sit in Mama's lap, that's what. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Verse 19 of Surah 14 says, do you not realize that God has created the heavens and the earth for a specific purpose? If He wills, He can remove you and substitute a new creation in your place. This is not too difficult for God. When they all stood before God, the followers said to the leaders, we used to follow you. Can you spare us even a little bit of God's retribution? They said, had God guided us, we would have guided you. Now it is too late. Whether we grieve or resort to patience, there is no exit for us. This is written in the past tense to emphasize that this is actually what happened on the day of judgment, as witnessed by God. Day of judgment is not here yet, but these are things, the Bible and the Quran speak in the past tense to indicate that this is a prophecy that is sure to come to pass.
This is not too difficult. What's in Arabic?
وما ذلك على الله بعزيز. وما ذلك على الله بعزيز.
Sounds like it's low.
No, it's not difficult at all. Oh, I see.
Could be easy for that.
Yeah, no, it's not difficult for God to do. 22. And the devil said, after the judgment had been issued, God had promised you the truthful promise, and I promised you, but I broke my promise. I had no power over you. All I did was invite you, and you accepted my invitation. Therefore, do not blame me and blame yourselves. My complaining cannot help you, nor can your complaining help me. I have disbelieved in your idolizing me. Only the transgressors have incurred a painful retribution. So here is Satan finally telling his constituents, I knew you were stupid to worship me, to follow me. So now, the people who follow him now, he points at them and says, oh, you stupid idiots. I tricked you. You follow me? 23. As for those who believed and led a righteous life, they were admitted into gardens with flowing streams. They abide therein forever, in accordance with the will of their Lord. Their greeting therein is peace. Do you not see that God has cited the example of the good word as a good tree, whose root is firmly fixed, and its branch is high in the sky? So the good word, the truth, lasts. It has basis, has roots. And 25, it produces its crop every season as designed by its Lord. God does cite the examples for the people, but that they may take heed. The example of the bad word is that of a bad tree chopped at the soil level. It does not stand. So the bad word, the falsehood, you just blow in it and it falls down. 27, God strengthens those who believe with the proven word in this life and in the hereafter. And what we have is the proven word. And God sends the transgressors astray. God does what He wills. They remove their families from God's protection. Number 28, have you noted those who responded to God's blessings by disbelieving and thus brought disaster upon their families? We talked earlier this afternoon about the souls being assigned to certain homes. So if the people refuse to uphold God's commandments, God will assign evil souls to their houses.
How does this apply to somebody where one parent is
Amazingly, it works both ways. The believer will get his or her way. But a lot of times the situation, pardon? Usually, yes. I'm trying to think, because you see, the believers get their way. And I'm looking at thinking of my own parents, where my mother was a believer, my father was not. He was a heavy-duty idol worshiper.
Believer by what means?
But you see, my mother was not actively preaching, not continuously. She was not as educated as she wished to be. But she was just telling us always, God alone, the saints and the prophets are dead. You must trust in God alone, nobody else. And she kind of gave up because we all ganged up on her, with my father. So in other words, we didn't follow her. So we ended up half the kids are believers and the half are disbelievers. I shouldn't put it this way. Half are believers, 50% are believers, 10% disbelievers, and the rest are wishy-washy. Sounds like we had 100 kids, right? We're only 6. But that's a very good proportion. 3 believers out of the 6. And two nice ones not made a firm stand, and 1 disbeliever. So that's not good.
If both parents are believers and true believers, is that a guarantee that children will be believers?
No.
And
There's an example.
Two parents disbelievers, they can have a believing child.
Noah had one son that was disbeliever. We have examples in the Quran of all kinds of relatives, because the word guarantee is just too strong. Generally, yes. And in this new era, the believers will get their way. This is a very very difficult era to believe because of the TV, the movies, the atmosphere, the society. It's just it's more difficult to believe. At the same time, it is easier to believe. You can understand that. There are too many distractions. So in this new era where the miracle is mental and everything, just God's system, that things will go the way of the believers. So inshallah, Roxana's kids, all of them will be believers. They are already, mashallah. Where were we? Yeah, we talk about they remove their families from God's protection. There are also examples in the, for example, Abraham was God's favorite person, but his father, his parents were, I don't know about his mother, but at least his father was a disbeliever, a real bad one. So there are certain exceptions, at least in the past. I was going to mention to you Carol Qureshi and her husband, for example, where their daughter works both ways. Samina is a test for Carol and a punishment for Ihsan. So it works both ways. That incident caused Carol to be a stronger believer, it causes Ihsan to be a miserable person. 28, have you noted those who responded to God's blessing by disbelieving and thus brought disaster upon their families? Hell is their destiny wherein they burn. What a miserable end. Idol worship, the mother of all evil. They set up rivals to rank with God and divert others from his path. Say, enjoy for a while, your final destiny is hell. Exhort my servants who believe to observe the contact prayers and give to charity from our provisions to them, secretly and publicly, before a day comes where there is neither trade nor nepotism. God is the one who created the heavens and the earth, and he sends down from the sky water to produce all kinds of fruit for your sustenance. He has committed the ships to serve you on the sea in accordance with his command. He has committed the rivers as well. He has committed the sun and the moon in your service continuously. He has committed the night and the day to serve you. All we can do is show our appreciation by worshiping Him alone. Muhammad didn't do any of this. Jesus didn't decide how long the night shall be or what seasons will be take place. God is the only one who controls the sun, the moon, all that. Congratulations, God bless you.
Only God can
Yes, nothing else. Yes. The sun is a true submitter, and only God controls the sun. The sun is very obedient. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset.
This is what Abraham discovered actually, that the sun was obedient to a higher. That's how he discovered.
Well, actually, he was ridiculing his people. He was telling them, why don't you worship the one God, you know? And they said, apparently they were worshiping the sun as well. So he was telling them, maybe this star is our God. He was just making fun of them. As it turns out. Because obviously he has seen the sun, the moon, the stars before. Also, if you read the text, he says, oh my people, if you don't, you know, I disown your idolatry. So there's a connection between talking about the sun, the moon, the stars, and his guidance. Mr. Azhar Shah.
Yeah. I was talking to my wife, Victoria, that because the place that we right now we live in San Francisco, the day by day is going to be for the children to grow. I said, okay, I don't want to sacrifice myself. For example, right now, for example, I like that area. However, really I don't care. I don't anywhere is good. Anywhere that I'll be able to survive, I like it. I don't care. But the whole else.
Thank you, Omar. Looks so good.
I want to do Victoria, for example, let's go to Exodus 2 here, because my child can grow here and is going to see there, pray every time. So, what's your idea? Because, for example, I try to, all the time I pray for my children to be submit to God, my next generation, never know if I'm able to see them or not. Okay?
You have, remember what I told you just a few minutes ago, is you must ask him to pray with you, wherever you are in your home. And Vicky also tell her to do that. Because, you know, I look at Hani and I know what, he prays with us just like an adult Hani does. It's because they taught him to do that. No, it doesn't matter. Even if you come here, teaching him at home will be the most important fact. So you just settle wherever you're making a living. You know. Of course, in Tucson there's a big advantage. But we'll settle wherever we're making a living. What I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to emphasize is that teaching at home is very important. So Muhammad is not too young to make him gradually he will discipline himself and stand in the prayer. At first he will stand for only half a rak'ah, and then for 1 rak'ah, then for 2, and eventually he will do the whole prayer with you and will enjoy it. Give him some incentives like candy and cookies and stuff. Huh? Yes. Easy slide, yes. Yes, and he's very hyper. Yeah.
But still I feel just for them, if I'll be able to grow my children here, they are going to be really bright people in the future if they grow in California.
Yes, I don't blame you. But wherever you go, they are in God's hand. Remember that. You must have if you are with God and you're observing this, your children are in God's hand. You don't have to worry about them.
One question. What is the law of the Quran about a father educating his child with the hand, for instance, on the...
Oh.
I didn't find anything.
called.
Is this actually a satanic invention?
Yes. Don't touch your kids. You'll be sorry. You'll be sorry because soon will grow up and they put you to shame every time you see them.
When you in the Torah,
If you repent, then God will fix everything.
in the Torah it says the father who loves his son doesn't bear what do you say it in English?
Make a point. Everybody here, make a point that you can stand someday and you say, I never slapped my son or my daughter. Never beat my son or my daughter. And if you can repent, then you erase the past and start anew, and you can make the same claim before God.
But what does it mean then in the Torah when it says that the father who loves his son doesn't bear the rod? What does
Translate to English. Say it in English. Say it in our English.
the father who loves his son
Yes.
doesn't spare the rod?
That doesn't tell me beat your kid. It means the father who loves his son never uses the rod. Huh? Yeah? So it depends on how you look at it.
I mean, it's I don't have the Bible in English.
It's a satanic trick because it makes the kids hate everything that you want to promote. If you want the kid to read the Quran and you beat them to read the Quran, they will hate the Quran. And as soon as they're out of your influence, they will curse the Quran and everything that's connected with it. I've seen it.
No, yeah, I didn't ask it from this point of view to read the Quran. Because this is a very...
No, I'm just giving an example. If you beat the kid because you want him or her to sleep at 8 o'clock every night, they will hate 8 o'clock.
Yeah. But
And they'll connect the beating with whatever you want. You want to promote.
Yes, but this is not what I was trying to ask you about. I was trying... Some children are committing mischievous acts.
Yes.
Like throwing stones
Yes.
through the window of the neighbor's house.
Yes.
And they do it repeatedly.
Right.
Or they steal bicycles, or I don't know what they do.
Yes.
And the father is trying to say, don't do that, but the kid is continuing to do it. So he punishes his child for having committed disobedience and destruction. And this is the question which is very, I would say...
If the kid is behaving this way, it's the fault of the parents anyway. They had I think it was Oprah Winfrey's show, they had a mother and a daughter. The daughter got pregnant when she was 15. She dropped out of school and got pregnant. And the mother was there and the daughter was there. And Oprah Winfrey was asking, what is it that caused you to drop out of school? And the girl said, well, I want to be with my boyfriend, so boyfriend is more fun than school, this kind of thing. So then she turned to the mother and said, why did your daughter turn this way? And the mother said, turned to her and said, why did you drop out of school and go after your boyfriend and get pregnant? Why do you do these bad things when I want you to go to school and this and that? So the daughter looked at mother and said, well, you're never home, and when you're fooling around with your boyfriend, it's this and that. And I was on the show. So what I'm saying is, it's the parent's responsibility. If the mother's setting the example for the daughter.
Is there anything wrong with getting pregnant and if maybe they got married in their way in front of God?
There's no such thing. You mean there's nothing wrong with dropping out of school at the age of 15 and getting pregnant?
No. School is not a compulsory thing in itself. for.
So you think it's okay to drop out of school and go to the boyfriend and get pregnant without marriage?
I didn't say that without marriage. I said maybe with marriage.
Well, so why not get married?
I don't know if
They're
they got
15 years
married or
old.
not, but
Pardon?
maybe they
Why marry in secret? There's a girl 15 years old in school, she drops out, goes to her boyfriend and she marries him and gets pregnant. Why not make the marriage public?
I don't know if they made it public or not, but what I'm saying is that Russia, school as such,
Yes.
it's not a criteria for righteousness. I didn't find in the Quran that we have to go to school.
Yes,
Maybe
yes
she was
it is. You
tired.
didn't read the Quran.
Maybe she was tired
You didn't read the Quran. You have to read the Quran. It tells you, we were talking about this 2 days ago, that the rich believer is better than the poor believer. That's what God is saying. What does this mean?
Yeah, that's the more educated that they have.
Right. In fact, I will let you read it.
But in many schools they are not teaching, they are indoctrinating.
Indoctrinating what?
Well, in materialist values and in
So do you suggest that we cancel schools?
no, we can improve schools. But if some young people drop out of school, maybe it's a reaction against that they don't agree with what is, the schools are under certain control that they don't accept.
Look at page 275. If you read for us 75 and 76, we'd appreciate it. My pillow. Read it loud. You can read the Quran. When I said you didn't read the Quran, it means you read it, but you didn't read it.
But that's easy
Because when you make a statement like that,
that's easy to say. I didn't make a statement, I made a question.
you said the school is not important or not mandatory or something like that.
I didn't say that knowledge is not important.
You said school is not.
I said that
Well, I
people
tell you,
who
you
drop
can't-
out of school can have very good reasons for it.
You can't get knowledge without school, that's for
But
sure.
I will read it.
It will take you 20 times as long if you wanna educate yourself outside without school.
What
I've seen both.
Are you trying to say that the school is a guarantee for success? Or you say that
I didn't
you
say that.
cannot
I said the
acquire knowledge?
education in school is faster than education without school.
That is a simplistic generalization which has nothing to do because each individual is different and there are lots of individuals.
Well, I've seen both examples. I've seen
Yes.
people who go to school and people who didn't go to school.
Yes, but it's
And
not-
when you go to school and you have 15 points, you study logic and philosophy and accounting and economics and journalism. But if you do it on your own, it's going to be 20 times as long. This has been the experience. You can accumulate the experience of 100 scholars. Yes, Lucy agrees. Yes.
Yes, but
You can look at a research that did a lot of survey thousands of people, and you come up with a conclusion.
But you see, the school is not a guarantee that you will learn the right thing. And
Ignorance is.
well, your mother, for instance, she was not that ignorant. She wanted to know what, but she told you the truth, to worship
Yes.
God alone. You see, don't mix up things like this, because the fact that you have gone to school is not a guarantee that you.
So
will
this
succeed in life.
this proves that ignorance is good.
No, I didn't say that.
What are you saying?
No, I'm saying that.
Saying the school doesn't guarantee happiness, therefore let us cancel schools.
What I'm trying to say,
Yes.
first of all, I don't want to start an argument. I want to.
I'm repeating what you're saying. You're
No,
saying
you are not.
school does not guarantee happiness, right? Is this what you said?
Yes.
Success.
School does not guarantee.
Therefore, let us eliminate schools.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, what are you saying? What is your conclusion?
My conclusion is that we know very well that the school system today is not optimal. Or do you think it is?
Well, it's the best. The best
You think
ever.
it is the best?
Yes,
Now,
Well,
first equity is the best we have.
it's the best ever.
What school you talk about?
Any school system anywhere in the world today is better than any other time.
You believe that sincerely?
Yes, I know that.
Okay, then I don't want to discuss it, but there is a national emergency plan in the United States because the people don't learn anything in school. And the level of illiteracy and the level of analphabetism has increased in the United States. So I think it's a little bit...
Why?
Because the schools don't teach
Yes.
anymore as they used to. They don't teach.
So they are better than
Because
ever.
they have acquired new so-called methods which are not as good teaching methods as they used to be.
So what do you suggest?
And the children are not very motivated when they go to school because there are lots of other activities that are promoted on the side. And the role of the school today has become more of a social institution to teach young children to socialize rather than to acquire knowledge. And maybe this...
But somehow Eric has taken us away from the Quran. Is this true? Okay. We'd like to study the Quran and not politics or school systems or
Yes,
anything
but
else.
you took up
Our
the
children
examples.
are the most educated kids in the world.
You are just knocking off this 15 or 16-year-old girl or whatever, just like this. Maybe she has a very good reason.
We uphold the highest moral character because God told us to do so. If a girl gets pregnant at 15, first of all, physiologically she's not ready to get pregnant. It is not good for her. To drop out of school is not good for her. It is a bad example. And it affects your behavior. When you don't have the highest moral standard, it affects your behavior and then it reflects on you.
Maybe this girl was a believer.
Pardon?
Maybe this girl was a believer. Maybe she...
No, she's not a believer. She doesn't know anything. She's drugged, she's alcoholic, she's a 15-year-old pregnant without marriage. How can she be a believer when she gets pregnant at 15 and drops out of school and
I don't know.
shouts at her mother? I mean, why do you think she's a believer? Because she got pregnant?
I said, maybe she is. How do you know that she's not?
Well,
Are you saying that there are things that need to happen to somebody maybe before they become a believer?
I'm trying to say that God knows, but we don't know. And
so
we
again, okay,
we
Eric.
shouldn't pretend that we know, because God knows.
So the girl that gets pregnant, drops out of school at 15, and would rather be with her boyfriend and pregnant, she has a child. This is a criterion for the believer. This tells us she's a believer. Is this true? Is this what you're saying?
What are you saying?
A girl that's 15 years old drops out of school and gets pregnant and gives birth to a child out of wedlock. This is a sign of a believer.
I didn't say that.
You said maybe she's a believer.
I said maybe she's a believer.
Because all the signs are there. All the signs of a believer are there. Right?
Why do you say that all signs of a believer?
Well, this is your conclusion.
No.
You must see signs.
I
Tell
didn't
me.
draw any conclusion.
Why maybe she's a believer?
Don't
Why?
put words in my mouth, Rasha. I'm just trying to say that what she has in her heart, only God knows.
Well, I think you're bad influence on us, Eric, and I suggest you go back to Switzerland. This is my suggestion. Because your behavior reflects what you're saying, and it hasn't been very good.
I'm sorry.
Me too.
But
I know certain things you don't know, so if you choose my
no, if
expression...
something happened like we say, we as believers judge it from what the Quran says. But not to judge the person as for what she knows. That's what she decides to do. If she knew better, if she knew about the rules and regulations, she will not have been in that position.
That's right.
Because
Exactly.
she is in that position from what she knows. But from what we know, and even for me as a woman, I would not want to be pregnant for anything. I mean, it's such a big responsibility.
Looking from God's point of view, strictly from God's point of view, I don't think it's a good influence when we have here children, boys and girls, to hear somebody say, maybe she's a believer when she got pregnant at 15 and dropped out of school and so on. So
But
I'm very jealous when it comes to guarding our standards.
But I have another question I can add to that. As human beings, we do have to have feelings for the baby. And even the mother, she believes.
Say it again.
our law, if even men and women get pregnant and want to get married after 1 month, I mean, if they have a baby and after 1 month they want to get married, that child is called illegitimate. That's it?
Yes.
Yes.
It was conceived outside of marriage, which is God's institution. I just don't trust you talking to the believers when I'm not here. I'm not comfortable because of your point of view. Maybe you have some European ideas or something. Whatever it is, I'm not comfortable when you're talking to the people and there's always some negative feedback. So I'd appreciate it if you just visit when you are here, or it'd be better if you just go back to Switzerland. Are there any other questions on this? What were we talking about? I was saying that the parents set the example for the children.
A good example for Mariam,
زعلانة ليه؟
19 years old.
أيوة. هذه نصيحتك لنفسها.
Mariam was 19 years old and she said, no man has ever touched me.
Yes. That's the Quranic lesson. Yes.
Perfect believer.
There is a good hint when it is in Surah 19, and it's entitled Maryam, and it tells the birth of Jesus and so on. It's a very good indication. 15 is just, even physiologically, the girl is not ready. Just because she is menstruating and so on doesn't mean the uterus is ready and emotional, psychological conditions are satisfied.
But you have to understand that
And the same with the boys.
That's why in all countries, one time ago, let the girl marry that lady with 15 or 16, or maybe less than that. Before they have a child, I believe they have about 6 or 7 months.
Yes, infant mortality.
They have three,
It was a mistake.
Two brothers and sisters died before me. I was the fourth one. Because my mother was very young.
Right. Just physiologically, the boys and the girls are not ready before the age of 19 or 20.
So they didn't know any better. Now that we know science and they are better educated, we know this.
It's not only that, that's the difference between us and animals. I mean, you have to... They are talking about hormones. When I say, well, no, there are hormones. But we have a brain too. I mean,
The animals
we are
know
talking
what
to children.
they have.
And they say it as
Animals are
something
better.
normal. I mean, they say it as
The
something
animals
normal.
are better because they know and they are ready. It's very tough.
It's a very hard concept for Westerners to understand what is hormone. Well, please, I mean, please, but I mean, I don't picture any of my children running around with a hormone kind of dog. That's not human being. I don't want to know my daughter or my son are in need. I want them to learn.
Control themselves.
As
Yeah.
self-control. I mean,
Exactly.
this is what it's all about in everything.
Yes.
And that is the hard.
I've been-
People that steal, for people that...
Seems like in the last 10 Quranic study, I've been reminding the parents to tell their children that they're very special. They must learn they're very special. They're not to behave like the commoners, and they must not let anybody touch them in a sexual manner until their wedding night. And so I have an appendix here entitled Virginity for that purpose. So if they are so embarrassed, they can just have them read the appendix. So sometimes it's a ticklish subject. It's difficult to discuss. But they must teach them first that their happiness in this life and forever depends on obeying God's commandments.
Well, I was in
And,
a academic conference. I mean, it was incredible how it was given. And at the end, he said, well, yes, they were talking mostly about the women. But how about the men?
Right.
And it was in expressions of don't let him testimony you, and on. And after he's going to say to you goodbye, and I said, this is men and women.
Right.
They're both responsible. Please don't teenagers and explain to them.
For both.
Unfortunate issue. We are not having to blame, not because the woman is showing value, the man didn't do anything. I mean, he's gone and finished. That was something that really I think at the time was more benefit for the woman than the man.
Yep. That's why I put in the headlines that boys and girls. Otherwise, there is no double standard there. You know, first and foremost, if a person is a believer, the children are in God's hands. And you must have that confidence.
Both parents of this one.
Just one. Roxana was asking the same question. Remember, God says that in heaven you have anything you wish for, anything you want. And the believer's heaven begins right here. So if a believer is one parent is a believer, he or she will have what they want. Anything that belongs to you is in God's hands, including your husband. God will consort their minds in their house. Husbands go from extremes, from the extremely cooperative to the extremely violent in opposition. And even the extremely violent in opposition, they can threaten, but they have no will. The will of God that is finally is done. So they can shout and threaten, but they cannot do anything. God is doing everything.
David's mother, right now they're saying he knows his life.
Well, it's beginning. It was the age, yes. I actually heard commercials on the radio and TV advocating abstinence until you have the one partner that you're going to have. I mean, this is unheard of. 20 years ago, it was unheard of to actually hear commercials on the radio and the TV talking about AIDS awareness. I'm saying that the best way, yes, exactly. Our generation coming up. I mean, 20 years from now, there will be twice as many people on earth who never heard of the Trinity or anything else. And Ahsan says that this is God's way of teaching them, since the parents are lax. They're not teaching their children about homosexuality and the dangers and this and that. The parents are so lax, so God sees to it that He's teaching them. So now, what was somebody? Sargon was saying. Oh yes, the cat is so weak and old and falling apart. And Sargon said, maybe she has AIDS. Yeah, but that's not the point. You see, the point is, look at the child knows about AIDS.
And the next step is teenage,
Yes.
AIDS is spreading in our child population. This is why now we're going to be more. This is the system. This is the system there. The hard way that they're going to live.
Yeah. Ziba will call in about 15-20 minutes. She did? Where? Where? Here? Gosh, I was fighting with Eric. I had no awareness. Wasn't aware of anything. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yes.
But we have also to be careful of food and because I'm not taking these things, and I still know I didn't take this that is a believer. They are all tiny people, and they are all people that have great hands and
There's the sister who's a believer right there.
yeah,
A good one.
and it's scary. I mean, it's scary.
When did you meet a butcher or an accountant or a doctor who's a believer? Don't be so hard on teachers.
So we have to balance things.
Remember, your children are in God's hands. God will manipulate the circumstances so they will get the right education.
And the best education starts.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Very important. MashaAllah. I mean, we can use Hani. Look at Hani, MashaAllah. As an example. He stands with us just like the adults and prays. Perfect. The only thing that's wrong with this phrase is you make his salam to the left ear. And we'll yes. So he looks at him because he's anxious to say congratulations. So we're thinking of putting him on the other side to be the first one there, so he will start to... Yes. But this really tells us that you can teach the kids how to do the proper prayer from very early age. It is only... yes.
Do you remember when?
Now he's chasing the fly. You want to go to heaven? I mean, this is wonderful.
Yes.
He was actually listening.
Yes.
Adnan.
I know.
He was listening to you at the convention.
They're talking about going to pizza, he goes, wow.
No, that's, Linda teaches you, mashallah. But he was listening to you at the conference.
You know what Nani, how old Nani is? Adnan, Linda, and Ahmed Baroni's son. Wow, mashallah. What is this? I was going to hang it in my office. Anyway, Nani was running after a fly with a swat at him. You want to go to heaven? You want to go to heaven? I mean, even adults don't know this. Send them to heaven.
He's asking the little flies, you want to go to heaven? You want to go to heaven? He was listening to us out at the conference. He's not even, he's two, he's about two. No, my God. He was listening at the conference. Yeah. Nobody told him before.
The Malis are here. MashaAllah. What happened to the Jehovah Witness that came to your house? Aisha was there. Oh, you were there too? What do they do? That's good. Yeah, they are active. They know the new people. Did he ever show up again? I don't think it's a Jehovah Witness anymore. He came in to tell us to read the Bible, and we ended up telling him to read the Bible. We showed him that he doesn't know what's in it. Right.
The gentleman you are talking, he didn't start his way to heaven.
No, yeah. Remember, were you there? You were not there?
No, you.
Yes. He came to tell us not to go to heaven.
What to heaven?
Huh?
What did he say?
He said, I have no hope for God. I have no heavenly hope. What did he say? I have no heavenly hope. He said, you mean you're not going to heaven? I said, no. He said, do you want to go to heaven? Because we're going. He said, no. Yes. He said, no. I said, well, wait a minute. If you have a choice, would you like to go to heaven or not? He said, what? If I have a choice, yes, but I have no hope. That's why you're coming to tell us that you want to take us with you? Yes. You want us to cancel our heavenly hope or what?
He's serving the devil. That's what devil is trying to do.
Believers say you are following a crazy man. In their privacy, this is what they say. You're following a crazy man. I think this happened to every one of us. Note how they describe you and how this causes them to stray off the path. They said, after we turn into bones and fragments, we get resurrected anew. In other words, they do not believe in resurrection after death. They don't believe in the hereafter. And I want to emphasize here that 49 does not mean they say it orally. Orally. They say it in their heart, in their mind, secretly. Their subconscious is saying that. This is why we need the 3 criteria to bring out that subconscious statement. And I think in the new edition, I'm making this clearer. They said in their subconscious, after we turn into bones and fragments, we get resurrected anew. 50. Say, even if you turn into rocks or iron, or a lion devours you and digests you. 51. 51, actually this is what it says. 51, or any kind of creation that you deem impossible to resurrect. This is what it means. Somebody is eaten up by a lion and devoured. How will he be resurrected? This is actually what they ask. You will be resurrected anew, because the body doesn't mean a thing. The body is eaten up by the earth anyway, or cremated, or whatever. They will then say, who will bring us back? Say, the one who created you in the first place. They will then shake their heads and say, when will that be? Say, it may be closer than you think. Treat each other amicably. This is a commandment to all of us, and we have to be very careful, because this is Satan's last stand. To borrow Custer's word. Is that General Custer? Custer's last stand? I don't know what the connection is, but this is something there. There's some connection there. Tell my servants, that's you and I, to treat each other in the best possible manner. For the devil will always try to drive a wedge among them. This is his last, he failed to stop you from believing in God. He failed to stop you from reading the Quran. He failed to stop you from being saved. So his last thing to do is to drive a wedge between the believers. Because this will be a violation of God's statement that the believers are brothers and sisters. That the believers are one family. It's a statement that God made, and Satan wants you to contradict that statement by being averse to some other believer. So we have to go out of our way to make it backfire on Satan. If he tries to drive a wedge between you and another believer, you must reverse it. It takes work. Pardon? 52. The day he summons you, you will respond by praising him. Oh, did I miss it? Yes, okay. The day He summons you, you will respond by praising Him, and you will then realize that you had lasted in this life but a short while. Really very short. It's sufficient for the test, but it's very short. Just think of all the years that went by so fast. Only yesterday you were a freshman in high school. Goes like that. Tell my servants to treat each other in the best possible manner, for the devil will always try to drive a wedge among them. Surely the devil is man's most ardent enemy. Because if he succeeds to drive a wedge between you and your brother or sister, the believers, he can point at you and say, look, he or she is not a believer, because he doesn't have that brotherhood, sisterhood feeling that you stated. Satan will say that. And Satan is the biggest crybaby. He'll just look for anything to claim you. So don't give him a chance. 54, your Lord is the best knower of you, in accordance with His knowledge. He showers you with mercy, or in accordance with His knowledge, He requires you. We did not send you to be their advocate. Your Lord is the best knower of everyone in the heavens and the earth. In accordance with His knowledge, we preferred some prophets over others. For example, we gave David the psalm. We were talking about this yesterday. Many people, especially secular people, they think that David wrote the psalm, which is true, but he wrote it with God's inspiration. God, we're told here, God gave David the psalm because he deserved it. And I hope all of you were here when I said, for example, the 5 daily prayers are a gift from God. You're not the one who's doing the 5 prayers. God is allowing you to do the 5 prayers as a gift from Him, because He knows you deserve that gift. And this is proven by the prayer, Abraham's prayer. I like to repeat this because it's very important. Because when we do the 5 prayers, we don't feel like we're doing God a favor. We should feel the other way around. We should feel that we thank God for the favor that God gave us to make us do the 5 prayers. Abraham's prayer was, please God, make me one who observes the 5 prayers. مين اللي زمر هناك يا حاج؟ Abraham said, please God, make me one who observes the 5 daily prayers. We gave David the psalm. You know, you always read the people who wrote the scripture say the psalmist said, and the psalmist did, psalmist said that. They call David the psalmist. They really, act and write and consider that David is the writer of the psalm. But the Psalms is one of God's scriptures. It is all loving God, and it emanated from David, but God gave David the words to express that love.
Our religion, we discuss and we refer some prophets over others that Muhammad did.
Fine. Even if that is correct, which is not, it is not correct. God is the one who prefers, and He ordered us not to prefer anyone, and not to make distinction. God preferred by necessity. He spoke to Moses, for example, a great honor that was not given to any other prophet. The prophets that are honored in the Quran are the following: Moses, Jesus, and David, not Muhammad, ironically. So if you are to pinpoint who are the prophets who were honored, and Abraham, if you are to pinpoint in the Quran who are the prophets who were honored to higher ranks by God, they were Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and David, named by name. You know, وَاتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ إِبْرَاهِيمَ خَلِيلًا. God made Abraham a close friend. Consider. I mean, what an honor this is. Moses by speaking to him, Jesus by being born as a prophet, and David, God gave him the Psalms. He loved God so much. He was singing, loved the love of God. And until today, if we want to express true love of God, we use David's words.
John, he was born as a prophet too. Or?
John was a prophet, yeah.
But was he born as a prophet?
Who?
John.
The Baptist.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was born as a prophet.
No. He was not born as a prophet. But Jesus was born as a prophet. He spoke from infancy and he said, I am a servant of God. God gave me the scripture. When God told Zechariah that John will be a prophet, he said he will be a prophet after he grows up. "56. Say, implore whomever you claim to be gods beside him. They have no power to relieve your afflictions, nor can they prevent them." There goes St. Jude. St. Jude, you read the paper every day and people are taking St. Jude for the success of the operation and for healing the disease. Any paper, but every day.
There was some Jewish guy, you know.
No.
St. Jude.
Yes, St. Jude, that's his name. He probably never existed. Yeah. If he did exist, he's now doesn't exist. He's powerless, dead. Even if he's alive now, he can do nothing to heal anybody. I don't think he went to school of medicine or anything. Saad will do a much better job than St. Jude. If you have a competition, Saad Khalifa against St. Jude, she'll do a much better job for healing. The righteous idols worship God alone. 57 says, even the idols that they implore, that is Hussein, Ali, Muhammad, Jesus, are seeking the ways and means towards their Lord, wish for His mercy, and fear His retribution. Surely the retribution of your Lord is dreadful. And we have this very well put in Surah entitled The Prophets, 21, that they are worried about their own neck. The prophets themselves, they want to get as close as possible to God, and they worry about their own neck. "58. There is not a community that we will not annihilate before the day of resurrection or inflict severe retribution upon them." This is already written down in the book. Congratulations, God bless you. These are our 2 pages, Lisa and Susan. There's some fantastic breakfast on the stove for you. Get to work. Yes, of course. That's very good. But you should have waited until Lisa and Susan stepped out. you can hear it as you have breakfast. Go ahead. Are there any workers who are going to work? No? Where's the jobless one?
I have to go to
Yes. You have to go by 8.
I have to be there.
Yeah.
Leave the door open now. Everything is fine now.
Yes. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Leave it open. Yes. Yes. Mm. Because it follows only a number of commandments. It refers to the commandments starting at verse 22. From 22 to 38 are a number of commandments. So then God is saying this is some of the wisdom. He's referring to just these. Yes.
You think that this verse refers to Quran?
Yes.
But just refer to those verses.
Well, those verses are some of the Quran, are part of the Quran. God says some of the wisdom revealed to you. So whatever God reveals is wisdom. Hadith is not revealed from God, it's revealed from Satan. The people have to have a choice between God's wisdom and Satan's wisdom. And all you need to do to see how stupid Satan's wisdom is just open the book of Hadith at random. From the names of the narrators to the subjects themselves are very, very stupid. I mean, Satan couldn't be that stupid. He must do it on purpose, just to show God that people will follow him anyway. Disbelief. Yes.
The reason I'm asking this is because the title is Quran is wisdom.
Yes.
And when you use some of the wisdom, it just looks to me that it refers to Quran. The Quran is some of it. the Quran is not.
Oh, I see. I see.
That's the reason.
Well, but there's other scriptures too. I mean, they did.
Yeah.
But Quran is complete and detailed.
But you see, the hadiths deny that Quran is wisdom at all, or part of the wisdom. See, Quran is the scripture, and hadith is the wisdom. Ali Izadi, right? That's what Ali Izadi said.
I had that thought too.
Pardon?
I had that thought.
Oh yeah, they all.
Wait, I said, well, when you answer all the questions for me, go back to the mystery.
Yeah.
So I will go and ask what the wisdom behind all. I will look in the hadith for the wisdom behind.
By the way, this didn't show up until we proclaimed that the Quran alone should be upheld. Did you notice that? I mean, we never heard of this before. Only that this message became known, that they started to say Quran is. It's like they made the discovery. Right. Exactly.
But now when somebody says, and then somebody has no idea, they don't know each other, but when they say it, as if they say, what is that news that came out?
Oh yeah, no, it's
the
different territory.
Yeah.
But I, you know,
show me how it, where the Salah is. And people that have no idea where they're from.
By the way, Naima, this is another idea that Ihsan developed also, about when they ask, where is the Salat in the Quran? And Ihsan says, if the Salat is described in detail, every step of it, every word you answer, everything in the Quran, which will take quite a few pages, will you follow it? And the person said, of course I'll follow it. She said, okay, let's take the first step in Salat. It is in the Quran, in Surah 5, verse 6. It says, O you who believe, when you get up for the prayer, wash your face, your arms to the elbows, wipe your hair, and wash your feet. Is this what you do? They all flunk because they don't do that. So see, God is giving you the first step in Salat and you don't follow it. So why?
I used to tell you, you're sitting down,
Yes, another.
only correcting what we're doing wrong in Salat, because
Exactly.
Salat is already there all the time, and say, if you're sitting down, we ask you to sit down, when you walk, and nobody has ever disagreed how many rakat is Fajr, how many rakat is Zuhr, how many rakat.
Exactly, there's no difference.
That's what the logic, but
You know, if some Muslims were doing the morning 3 rak'ahs and some are doing it 5 rak'ahs and so on, then God would have said, hey, it's the proper number of rak'ahs is 2.
just like they did
But it's all.
wudu, when they do so many steps, and they'll put exactly how many steps.
I was saying to this man, well, the Quran brings only one kind of people, and it's the believer. But then Hadith gives a lot of people. The one that one, the one sahih, the one that one da'if, the one that one.
Yes, take your pick.
I mean, they can pick whatever they want from Hadith. I mean, what pleases them, where they are in their feeling and emotion and their best things. I mean, if it says marry more than one woman, good.
You're quoting the Quran.
Yeah, but if they make it without the requirement of the Quran. I mean, the Quran does say there is. I mean, you have to be, listen equally.
No, the Quran makes it almost impossible.
Impossible. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I meant. But Hadith makes it possible. I mean, very easy.
Oh, they made a lot of things.
The repudiation of the women.
They have somewhere in Java, somewhere, I don't know where, they married somebody immediately for a few minutes and then divorced.
Well, this is a temporary marriage.
Oh, they have it. I mean, I saw it in my country where they have women in Morocco, women in Saudi Arabia, then they take them to Saudi Arabia, and for 2 years they come back to Morocco with them. And it's acceptable. I mean, I hear women in Morocco say, yeah, he asked me, to marry him, and maybe after 2 years. And he's like,
No, it's a lot worse than that. You don't know what Ihsan is. This is it's prostitution. Right.
Well, that's what I told them. I think that's prostitution for 2 years or 3 years.
No. This is for 1 hour. This is only a few yards from the Kaaba. And this man was walking with 3 or 4 girls, and he's saying, "Zawaj mut'a, temporary marriage." So a man will walk to him and say, I would like to marry this one. And he says, for how long? He says, 2 hours. There'll be less much. Okay, how about this one? I mean, really prostitution. And people get angry and they go to the police, and the police would say, sorry, this is the Shia principle. We cannot interfere in religious affairs. As if freedom of religion is rampant in Saudi Arabia.
They divorce?
Huh?
They divorce?
Yes, they divorce after 1 hour or 2 hours, and you negotiate with the man. This is only a few from the Kaaba. It's really terrible. But, yeah.
The thing is, Prophet Muhammad came, he made things. Hadith is helping to make things easy for people that didn't develop yet. I say, please, let's listen to the development, and then we can solve it. We can say Hadith things to prepare them. There is
Hadith 200 years later, how to prepare them. This is the service, but they were much better before Hadith.
we say, how can we say to somebody to do things if he's not ready? So Hadith was really allowing them.
They were his believer before that.
So they shouldn't say that name.
But you were quoting the Quran when you said in Hadith you find anything they want. Surah 68 verse 38. It says they have a book in which they can find anything they want. 68, 38. 68.
Oh, yeah, right.
Surah 68 verse 38. Another multiple lines. Yep.
555.
And I told him, well, what you want is not what I want, so that's why we are fighting. And what the other person wants is not what
They're always fighting.
you want, so we will never be...
We had a guy, he walked in 3 days ago from the Islamic Center here, saying that they are fighting so much, there's so much hatred and so much fights. I'm sick and tired of it, I'm looking for another place. Yes.
68:35 says, shall we treat the Muslims like the criminals?
Right.
Very profound.
Yes.
And can you see that?
No, they can't see it.
What is that?
فَنَجْعَلُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ كَالْمُجْرِمِينَ. Yes, this is the word that's used. 35. It says mujrimeen. It's a very bad word in Arabic. Mujrimeen, criminals. They're the ones who have a book where they can find anything they want.
President, but
You mean you have a question?
That's what we've been doing.
I can't believe it. Okay, go ahead.
we find out recently that when a righteous dies, so it traces to heaven. But in the Quran we read that on the day of resurrection, when we wake up, it's like waking up from sleep. And in this word we say, La ilaha illallah, Alhamdulillah, it's the same in the hereafter.
Right.
But in here, there is this question, is the believer, the righteous, is in the heaven
Yes.
already? And then the day of resurrection.
Right.
And what happens?
Okay. Do you know what happens before the resurrection?
Before the day of resurrection?
Before resurrection. Immediately before resurrection, what happens?
Everything will be destroyed and all the dead will be alive.
Okay, before that, what happens? It's okay. I mean, I'm not just because you know it, but I want to bring it out. Okay, what happens just before resurrection?
The earthquake.
Before that. Huh? Okay, look at Surah 39. The answer is in Surah 39. Azar's answer. Page 466. And we have a correction to make because of the new information that the righteous do not die. The righteous do not die. So 466, and read it Azad, loud. 466. You're looking at the wrong page. Page 466. 466. Read it from the top.
The holy throne were open everywhere in the heaven and the earth is a strong day.
Okay, I want you to, if this is your book, cross dead out and put unconscious. See, she already got it, right?
Yeah.
MashaAllah, happy anniversary.
It also, Rashad.
Because this includes the angels also. The angels also will be struck unconscious. Yes? Says everyone in the heavens and the earth. Everyone in the heavens and the earth.
Except from Gabriel.
Except Michael. Or Israfil, the one who was blowing the horse.
Oh, so Michael's going to blow the horn.
I don't know if it's Michael or Israfil. I forget. Is it Israfil? It's Israfil, yeah. Doesn't matter. I think it's...
But it says,
Yeah, the one angel who blows the horse. Israfil or Israfil. Yeah.
Lucky guy.
So even even the people in heaven will be not unconscious. The reason I wanted to cross out dead and put unconscious is because it is the same word used when Moses was knocked unconscious, when God manifested himself. Moses said, وَخَرَّ مُوسَى صَعِقًا. And the word used here is, if you can see it in Arabic, it says فَصَعِقَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. The word is صَعِقَ, means unconscious. So in this translation here is not accurate.
It's also, it's also wrong, according to our previous information also, it would be the third day.
Right. Exactly. Also, in addition to all of this, the people of the cave, they were asleep, they were unconscious for 309 years, and God used the word resurrection about their waking up. But God used the word resurrection for our getting up every morning. And if you know how Barbara Jean sleeps, it's resurrection, all right? Have a nice day. See you inshallah in the Friday prayer. Alaikum salam.
The question that Farhad asked, the answer is that whenever Quran describes information system is mind used anyway, so the wisdom is for your benefit.
Some of the wisdom that we revealed to you. He has a good point, and that the people who are looking for excuse, they'll find it. Because God puts deliberate traps in the Quran for those people. I'm thinking of how to put the subtitle, change it so to avoid that problem. So we'll see. See what happens. That's a long story. We're going to call your son Yahya, so say, why? Yahya Yuxel. He's expecting, did you know that? News travel.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
He also. Well, he loves Apamir so much, and when she has morning sickness, he has it too. I brought him some lunch the other day and said, I vomit. Honest. Is this true? listen to him. What did you say? Yes. Yes. Explain. Explain. Yes. Yeah, no chance.
One more witness. Two more witnesses.
Guilty.
Third one here, another one.
Okay, Paribas, let's do some Quran.
Surah Shams is good?
Beautiful.
Yes, we're going to have it now, so summarize.
Oh. No, it's not Shams. Is it Shams Kubra? Surah 81.
No, God appoints angels to wake us up for the dawn prayer. and it takes a little nudge for most people. But for Baba, they have to knock on the door, almost break it down, to get her to move out of bed and walk to the door, and then, this is true. It's the best way to wake somebody up. For example, I'm sure you all did this. You put the alarm away from the bed, right? If it's next to the bed, you go, and you go to bed.
My cat's dreams.
Because the angels found that they have to knock on Barbara's door before they open the door, find out, and say, oh, okay, and do the morning prayer. MashaAllah. Dr. Raska?
Feeds a cat after his right? So he's like, okay, he's ready to like.
You praise Fajr too?
Yeah. It is neat about from observation when I was home that the dawn Adhan, I mean, it doesn't end. I mean, he's waking up everybody, but nobody's waking up. I mean, it's not something like half an hour.
Even in Morocco?
In Morocco, and get up.
In fact, they're cussing.
Yeah,
Yes.
almost. I mean, he's
Putting the pillows on their ears.
Yeah, but I say during the day they don't do that. Nobody's telling them leave the cooking. Nobody. I mean, I was teasing my mom. I say he disturbed us so much for half hour early time. But look at now. You need to leave a little bit this kitchen.
Yes.
And attend to God. They will leave it all day long. Nobody is dedicated to the time of the prayer during the day. Well, the evening will come and we do it.
You know, where we lived back home, they built a mosque with a minaret and with big loudspeakers that were pointing right to the window of Suad's room. And this ugly voiced guy, you know, every day, 1 hour before dawn, he comes up and just rattles on some nonsense, very loud.
I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah, and usually she's studying for, School of Medicine. She's up until 2 o'clock in the morning or something, and then she puts her head down, and then there comes this guy. They actually complained to the police about him. But he won. Yes. It's really terrible. 1 hour. You're right, they don't do it in other prayers. Only in the Fajr prayer.
And the one that nobody will stop.
Yeah. Make the people hate anything that's connected with prayer or God or Islam. What's your question, Adar?
Just one more.
Just one more. I love that phrase. Yeah.
One at a time. In Surah 2, verse 29, we read, He is the one who created for you everything on earth, then turned to the sky and created 7 universes therein, and He is fully aware of all things. And this question come up that in another verse we read that everything was masses, and then explosion happened, and there was, everything was created. And when I think about that, and I read this one, I'm confused that the earth was created first, and then the 7 heavens.
The provisions for every ant, horse, and mouse were calculated. The design was done. Everything was created first. Then you talk about the process. The process of creation is the Big Bang.
So this is just a provision that creates first.
The earth took 4 days to design and calculate the provisions and everything. Just the earth. وقدر فيها أقواتها في 4 أيام. See? God created the whole universe. This is in Surah 41 verse 11.
Summa in Arabic doesn't mean in Quran, especially doesn't mean always a time sequence.
Right.
Sometimes it's like this.
As a matter of fact, there's no time sequence. As far as God is concerned, there's no time period.
To show us, even to teach us.
Everything existed. Anyway.
I know, to teach us sometimes God put it in time sequence.
There's no time sequence for God.
Yes.
Did you hear that, Azad? Did you hear that?
No.
Go ahead.
Here, especially in verse 29, there is not time sequence because Summah here, in fact, means additionally He created, 7 universes, and expanded them. He created this and also this. Summa doesn't mean then, doesn't mean here as a translated as a then.
So there is no time sequence for God. In other words, before the 7 universes were created, God knew that the earth would be created, that Azar will be born and will move to San Francisco and will marry Mahdi at Masjid Tucson. God knew that. So it was already created, even though there is nothing yet, as far as we're concerned. So there is no time sequence as far as God is concerned.
I said maybe, for example, you build the building, and you didn't finish the design, but you go first to your room, and you finish this for design furniture, and go back.
You know in your head how many rooms you're going to have, what it will look like.
In Arabic, من بعد ذلك shows time sequence after this. But
usually من بعد ذلك applies to people. You just believed من بعد ذلك, or you believed من بعد ذلك, or you went to the other town من بعد ذلك. So it applies to the creatures, not to the creator. As far as God is concerned, there is no time. Period. Therefore, there is no sequence.
But
I mean, the people who will be born 100 years from now, God already knows about them. So are they created yet? Yes. But they are not in existence yet. They will be here 100 years from now.
Well, as long as we're concerned, they're not.
Right.
I mean, who said the past, future, and past and present future doesn't exist at the same time?
Right. This is why God tells us about the day of resurrection in the past tense, as if it happened. Which is true, as far as God is concerned, it happened. Everything is done. That's why when God says Satan went to heaven, to hell, nobody can say, is it possible that God will forgive Satan? Because God already tells us what happened in the future.
But the word for English, everybody understand that way, because when we say everything on earth, then turn to the sky and create 7 universes, and design 7 universes, or created.
And also,
you said
It
41.
doesn't matter. We shouldn't pick on these little things. Okay? We shouldn't assume that God created the earth and the heaven.
So when people ask us, we should have an answer for that.
So this is the answer. Say, why is it relevant to you whether the earth came first or Jupiter came first?
Somebody asked.
You know, the unfortunate...
Ask him a question. When they answer the question, is it important whether Jupiter came first or the earth came first? Is it important to you? But that's what God says. The people who doubt in their hearts, they will ask you those questions. They'll talk it to them.
You said 41. Which was?
41:11.
41:11. Thank you.
Rashad, didn't God honor Muhammad through the Quran by saying that he made the prophet as a mercy to people?
No, this is the same for every message. The same expression. No. You use the same expression for Jesus, for example. Yeah, they forget that. Like when they say God and His angels make salat on the Prophet. Well, 10 verses ahead of that is God and His angels make salat on the believers. The same words. هو الذي يصلي عليكم وملائكته. It's exactly the same words, but you never hear them saying that God and His angels make salat. I'm using the expression make salat, which is because whatever the understanding of that is, God does it for Muhammad as He does it for the believers also. This is exactly 13 verses before صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما, which is a big deal, they make out of it. 13 verses before that, God says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا, so all you who believe. اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا هو الذي يصلي عليكم وملائكته. Same words. But they pick out they make it like it's exclusive for the Prophet Muhammad.
Well, they want to see the human practice, so they can do that anyway in the Quran.
Exactly. Taking words out of context.
So maybe say about each verse,
وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. God used the same thing for Jesus. He said ورحمة منا. When they say وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين, we sent you as mercy to the people, they consider Muhammad to be the mercy. But what God is saying, and this is what the believers will see, is that out of mercy from God, He sent Muhammad or any messenger to remind the people and save them. So the message is from God. So when it comes, the same word is used for Jesus, وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا. Okay, well, I did give us a clue. Go take a nap. Everybody. And inshallah we'll meet at 12:30. Jum'ah, yes, excuse me. Yeah, 12 o'clock. Be here at 12. Great khutbah today, don't miss it. It's a secret.
That's even more exciting.
More exciting. Saeed Salah is here, folks. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Thank God. You know.
Oh, yes.
When he wakes up, it's going to be a lot of trouble.
Ow, ow, ow.
How tired he is.
I'm going to get sick. I'm going to get sick.
Why? You expected it? Go ahead. Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to count to know the number.
Right.
So to make it easy, they number the first. You see what I'm saying? Yes. The number. Yes. Yes.
But what about the instructions God told Muhammad? Muhammad put this verse in this surah with this.
After the one that was there.
After the one.
After the one that was there.
What about, he would say,
would
put
tell
it
him-
before this? He
How
could have
can
said that.
there were no number? How can he put it before? There were no number.
Oh, okay.
You understand? How would he know what number is this?
It has to be sequence.
Because it came to him as in the sequence that came to him surahs. Also, it came to him in the sequence of verses. The verses also sequence. When I met you first, and then I met Mehdi, and then I met Farhat, and then I met Parivat, and then I met. In the sequence that I met you, I know, oh, you number 1, you number 2, you number 3, you number 4. Because I can count which one I met first. And then if I forget the name, then I can put numbers. Yes, I know.
Yes, that means when he said that the Surah Al-Mudaththir, this is the, no, it's finished Mudaththir, and God says, now is Surah Hamd.
Surah Hamd.
Go to Surah Hamd, but not number. Now is
He
Surah...
doesn't know numbers.
Yeah, now
this is Al-Fatiha.
Al-Fatiha.
This is Surah Al-Fatiha.
Now is Surah Shams. Now
But when you put it in a book, you're going to put this one number 5. This will be the 5th one. You understand? Because the first one was, because the first one came to him already, is Surah Iqra. And the second one was Surah Noon. The third one was Surah Al-Muzammil. The fourth one was Surah Al-Mudaththir. He asked him to stop here now, and this is another Surah, number 4 now, not verses now. He stopped, there's something called verses, is something called Surah, that's all he knew. Okay, now this is another Surah now. Now he knows this is the 5th Surah. Okay, now has the 5th Surah finished or not, he doesn't know that. He leaves it there. Now he will go and tell him, this now is gone in the Surah Al-Mudaththir. Then continue Surah Al-Mudaththir. Then he will go